Hello, everyone. There was a slight mishap in
Oops.
communication between Kita and I.
Oops.
It is genuinely unknown which one of us made the mistake,
Probably.
actually. What?
Yeah, it was me. It was me.
I. Anyway, a unique opportunity for all involved is presented to us. Kitty thought that this chapter was to be a blind, and I did not.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to be fair, it was expected. Announcement within the announcement, every chapter left in Well of Ascension, from 54 to the epilogue, will be a blind. Yay! Because to the best of my recollection, 54 was recommended, 55 was recommended, 56 sort of was recommended, 58 was recommended, the epilogue we wanted to do. So
Why?
perhaps this is where some of the confusion with regard to this chapter came in. We figured, you know what? It's getting exciting. Let's just do the rest as a blind.
Mm-hmm. But I could have actually looked at my book and seen, because I've written in pencil, blind, don't read. So I thought I was really smart when I did that. But what I did was put that in my brain, and my brain was like, "Oh, the next one is a blind, and let's maybe not check the actual book for whether it's blind or not. No, we'll just rely on our brain, and that's it. I'm telling you, I was the one that did it wrong. You gave me all the information, and I just did not
See,
compute.
I put index cards in my copy of the book every time a blind is recommended.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not have an index card in 53. But I
Yeah,
had my bookmark, so I was like, maybe I did, but maybe I didn't. No.
it's my fault. Enjoy, but you know what? That's a unique thing. So Dorcas knows what's going to happen, and I don't. I think that's a cool state of affairs.
It is quite. This is when I found out that she had not read this chapter, guys, I just about screamed.
I think that's great. What you so like in excitement or happiness or frustration?
No comment.
Okay, but I think it's
If you
pretty.
know, you know.
I don't. So that's what's cool.
I will give you this opportunity, Kitty. Take a breath, take a quick meditation, enjoy circumstances as they are.
Oh God. Oh, this. Can we just get into this? I want to know.
Let's get into it.
Hello and welcome to the No One Asked You podcast. For this particular series, Dorcas is joined by his wonderful co-host, me, that Don Kitty. Dorcas and I are both going into the story completely new with almost no knowledge of the story or world, except this time Dorcas knows the whole chapter and I don't. Each segment we intend to cover what happens in each new chapter and discuss our experience along the way. I'm sure I will discuss my experience along the way and Dorcas will have to listen. Hold on to your butts because this is Ascension Unleashed, a blind read through, and today we will be covering chapter 53.
Chapter 53. I have a young nephew, one Rashek. He hates all of Klenium with the passion of envious youth. He hates Alendi even more acutely, though the two have never met. For Rashek feels betrayed that one of our oppressors should have been chosen as the hero of ages.
All right, this goes together with everything we know, but it's also quite. I guess the thing that we hear is that Roshek hates him without having met him. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, we've had this from a previous Sazed chapter, so I'm just kind of yelling, filler epigraph.
Mm-hmm.
I I would need your insight to see how it connects to the chapter. I'm not sure it does in any meaningful way that I can attribute.
We've got the theme of hate and envious youth. Who has been chosen as the hero of ages? And the theme of
Mhm.
oppressors. So the identity of oppressor versus oppressed. Yeah, so I'll look out for it, but I'm sure if you didn't see it, I won't see it.
Very well, then. Straff was starting to feel quite well as his army crested the last hill to overlook Luthadel. He'd discreetly tried a few drugs from his cabinet, and he was pretty certain he knew which one Amaranta had given him. Black Frane, a nasty drug indeed. He'd have to wean himself from it slowly, but for now a few swallowed leaves made him stronger and more alert than he'd ever been before. In fact, he felt wonderful.
Oof, he's not gonna kick that habit.
That was
uh,
my exact thought.
yeah, he's nuts. It's reminding me of Ragnar with those red berries or whatever. At one stage, he was also like basically addicted to them in the
Oh
show
no.
Vikings. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know that show. Of
Mhm.
that show. He was sure the same couldn't be said for those in Luthadel. The Kolos pooled around the outer wall, still beating on several of the gates on the north and east. Smoke rose from inside the city. Our scouts say the creatures have broken through 4 of the city gates, my lord, said Lord Yanarl. I don't remember what voice I did for him. They breached the eastern gate first, and they are met with heavy resistance. The northeastern gate fell next, then the northwestern gate, but the troops at both are holding as well. The main breach happened in the north. The Kolos are apparently ravaging from that direction, burning and looting. Luthadel, oh no.
Yeah, you know what? You know what? I was struck by. I was just like, man, scouts are crazy. They have to just sit there and like, mm-hmm. They just look and they're like, yeah, this happened, this happened. They just watch all of this unfold. Wild.
Yep. It must be quite a sight to see.
Mhm.
These big orc-like beings.
You know, and you're watching from a distance, so you're like, wow, this is crazy. But you're like, hey, I'm safe. This is great.
Straff nodded. The northern gate, he thought. The one closest to keep Venture. And that one, I feel as if Venture is also thinking, I hope they don't destroy my home. Let them destroy the rest of Luthadel, but leave my keep alone.
Yeah, that's what I want. That's my palace, man.
Yep. Do we attack, my lord? How long ago did the northern gate fall? Perhaps an hour ago, my lord. Straff shook his head leisurely. Then let us wait. The creatures worked quite hard to break into the city. We should at least let them have a little fun before we slaughter them. Are you sure, my lord? Straff smiled. Once they lose their bloodlust in a few hours, they'll be tired from all the fighting and calm down. That will be the best time to strike. They'll be dispersed throughout the city and weakened from the resistance. We can take them easily that way.
I'm wondering just again about the him thinking about keep venture. Is he okay about his home, but also he thinks okay the leadership would probably be there. No,
He
I
doesn't care.
yeah, now that I voice it, I don't think so. He's like they're gonna die. So yeah,
Yeah.
and he's also thinking, okay, cool, that'll be a good triumphant place to land up. Yeah.
Yeah. What I got more from that was Straff could take the city now and save more lives than he otherwise would, but he is choosing to let the Kolos kill wantonly
Mm-hmm.
because of his opinions of those in the city.
Yeah, and he's like he's letting them tire themselves out. It's like okay, it won't get that far, it won't get all the way to keep bench. I'll give them this certain amount of time, and they'll loot and burn, and it's okay. It's just so calculated and gross.
Yep. Sazed gripped his Kolos opponent by the throat, forcing back its snarling, distorted face. The beast's skin was stretched so tightly that it had split down the center of the face, revealing bloody muscles above the teeth, around the nose holes. It breathed with husky rage, spraying droplets of spittle and blood across Sazed with each exhalation.
Great prose, just really great.
Yeah, I got pit bull vibes from that. Just this really animalistic thing and immediacy to it.
Violence and aggression. Just, oof.
Strengths! Tapping his pewter mind for more power. His body became so massive that he feared splitting his own skin. That thought had me wonder if there's some sort of connection between the Terracemen and the Kolos.
Just yeah, and maybe they go blue after their skin splits, or I don't know. They don't have different colors, but yes, that is a. I think that is a clue.
Yeah. Fortunately, his metal mines had been built to expand, braces and rings that didn't connect on one side so that they could bend. Still, his bulk was daunting. He probably wouldn't have been able to walk or maneuver with such size. But it didn't matter, for the Kolos had already knocked him to the ground. All he needed was some extra power in his grip. The creature clawed him in the arm with one hand, reaching behind with the other, grasping its sword. Sazed's fingers finally crushed the beast's thick neck. The creature
Ghost!
tried.
Yeah!
Yes! The creature tried to snarl, but no breath came, and it instead thrashed about in frustration. Sazed forced himself to his feet, then hurled the creature towards its companions. With such unnatural strength, even a body 11 feet tall felt light in his fingers. It smashed into a pile of attacking Kolos, forcing them backward.
What a great move! Hulk smash!
Yes. And Sazed's okay.
Mm-hmm. He's doing good. Now imagine a trained Sazed.
What?
A trained Sazed.
Oh, yeah.
Like a warrior Sazed.
Yes. Very devastating. It's like the brute force of a Kolos with the training of a
Like a mist.
refined. Yeah.
Because he would have to he does have these different powers to tap into at different times. So he's not just a mystic, he's not just a thug. He's got all different kinds of things. He's got speed, and he could be a kind of mistborn if he trained his abilities a certain way. It seems to
Yes.
me. Maybe there's some limitations. I don't
He could do very cool things.
know.
And I bet we're going to find out more in future books.
I hope so.
Sazed stood, gasping. I'm using my strengths up so quickly, he thought, releasing his pewter mind, his body deflating like a wineskin. He couldn't continue tapping his reserves so much. He'd already used up a good half of his strength, though it had taken decades to store. He still hadn't used his rings, but he had only a few minutes of each attribute in those. They would wait for an emergency. And that might be what I'm facing now, he thought with dread. They still held Steel Gate Square, though Kolos had broken through the gate. Only a few could pass at once, and only the most massive seemed able to leap up to the wall. Still, Sazed's little troop of soldiers was sorely pressed. Bodies lay scattered in the courtyard. The Ska faithful at the rear had begun pulling the wounded to safety. Sazed could hear them groaning behind him.
So they're still there. Okay.
Yep.
They didn't run. I mean, I guess medics, they're helping somehow by dragging, but yeah. Great stuff. Is this the victory that you wanted? It wasn't going to be that clean. Yeah. No, but I mean, even if Vin came around there, it wouldn't be like people would still die. That's not how you don't just have a clean victory.
Yeah. I will say, though, his ability to really protect this square is giving me Defense of Summer Hill vibes.
Ooh, yes.
Kolos corpses littered the square as well, and despite the carnage, Sazed couldn't help but feel a sense of pride at how much it was costing the creatures to force their way inside this portal. Luthadel was not falling easily. Not at all. That felt great to read.
Yeah, especially from Sazed. It's like, okay. And he's also getting some pride. Yeah, good boy.
Yeah, but we know from Straff that other gates have fallen.
Yeah. But you gotta focus on the gate in front of you. Focus on the Kolos in front of you. Fight!
Mm. For the moment, there was a lull in the stream of Kolos filing through the gate, although several skirmishes still continued in the courtyard, and a new group of monsters was gathering outside. Outside the gate, Sazed thought, glancing at it. The creatures had cared to break open only one of the massive door gates, the one on the right. There were corpses in the square, dozens, perhaps hundreds, but the Kolos themselves had cleared many out of the way of the gate itself so that they could get into the courtyard. Perhaps. Sazed didn't have time to think. He dashed forward, tapping his pewter mind again, giving him the strength of 5 men. He picked up the body of a smaller Kolos and threw it out the gate. The creatures outside snarled, scattering. There were still hundreds waiting for the chance to get in, but they tripped over the dead in their haste to get out of the way of his projectile.
Yes, I love this. Throw the Kolos at the Kolos. Great, great. We don't need rocks. We have Kolos. Oh, fun times.
Sazed slipped on blood as he grabbed a second. What?
I'm owing. This is blind blood for me.
Yes. Sazed slipped on blood as he grabbed a second body, throwing it to the side. To me! He screamed, hoping that there were men who could hear and who could respond. The Kolos realized what he was doing too late. He kicked another body out of the way, then slammed his body against the door and tapped his iron mind, drawing forth the weight he had stored within it. Immediately, he became far heavier, and that weight crashed against the gate, which began to move.
Wow. Okay, so mine says slamming it closed. That's a big difference.
Yes, but it was clear to me that he was slamming it closed.
But it says beginning to move it. Like that's it. It's not that it's all the way closed. Like it's beginning to move. It's not closing. It's on its way to closing. But slamming it closed is like that's it. It's final.
Yeah, no, what I got was he slammed his body against, well, now I'm just reading it, against the door. And like there were folks on the other side trying to open it, but he then shoved himself against the door and made himself weigh more.
Yes, I know that, but he moved it. The thing is, it says slamming it closed instead of it. The end of your sentence was moving. It was just it
Which
began to
began to move, yeah.
yeah. Instead of it's finished moving. If you slam the door, slamming it closed, it's finished moving. So look, if you're reading this as I am without knowledge of what comes next, you're going, okay, that door's closed. Cool. Whereas if I'm reading that and I see it's began to move, I'm like, oh shit, there's still points that they can push against. He can still it hasn't closed yet. That's just all I'm thinking about.
I got the door is closed, but there are forces on the other side trying to open it still.
Yeah.
Kolos' footsteps rushed the doorway from the other side. Sazed scrambled up against the gate, pushing corpses out of the way, forcing the massive portal entirely closed. He tapped his iron mind further, draining its precious reserve at an alarming rate. He became so heavy he felt his own weight crushing him to the ground, and only his increased strength managed to keep him on his feet.
Very Mistborn. Very Mistborn stuff because it's the same. Vin has to use pewter and sort of things when she's pulling and pushing and whatever for landing and things. So this sort of dynamic use of his different powers, yeah, I guess he's good. He's pretty good at it, but I wonder if he can learn to be even quicker with it if he practiced more.
Yeah. Combat ferochemy.
Yeah, combat ferochemy like mixed with all different kinds of opponents, not just practicing silently away because you had to be a keeper and be secret. Now you're a mistborn, you can fuck around. I'm not a
Yeah.
mistborn. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, and I don't know how many keepers there are. I would imagine very few because of the breeding programs,
Mm,
but an army of ferochemists seems quite scary to me.
yep.
Frustrated Kolos pounded on the gate, but he held them back, hands and chest pressed against the rough wood, toes wedged back against uneven cobbles. With his brass mind, he didn't even feel the cold, though ash, snow, and blood mixed at his feet. Men cried out. Some died. Others slammed their own weight against the gate, and Sazed spared a glance behind. The rest of his soldiers set up a perimeter protecting the gate from the Kolos inside the city. The men fought bravely, backs to the gate, only Sazed's power keeping the portal from flying open.
Woo! Oh my god, I'm scared it's gonna open.
Yeah.
It's gonna run out. He's gonna run out. Valiant effort. Get some people killed during. We do need to deal with the ones that are inside, so it makes sense. But yeah,
But also the rest of his soldiers. He has
oh
certainly
yes,
taken up
true.
that mental.
Mm-hmm.
Yet they fought. Sazed cried out in defiance, feet slipping, holding the gate as his soldiers killed the remaining Kolos in the courtyard. Then a group of them rushed in from the side, bearing a large beam of wood. Sazed didn't know where they'd gotten it, nor did he care, as they slid it into place where the gate bar had been.
Yes, just in time.
Just in time. Speed of plot?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not a chastisement. That's just a phrase. His weight ran out, the iron mind empty. I should have stored more of that over the years, he thought with a sigh of exhaustion, sinking down before the closed gate. It had seemed like a lot, until he'd been forced to use it so often, to shove away Kolos or the like. And at that, I recalled our conversation in, I forget if it was the last chapter or prior,
Mm.
but the wonder as to whether or not he used any of his strength in the journey from the conventicle to Luthadel. Because we know he ran out of speed at one point, and I wonder if strength would have been able to help him. And I know he was worried that he hadn't had any time to replenish his metal mines between then and, well, now. So interesting to me that suddenly he had years of strength
Mm.
within.
Nice. He's thinking about weight, which also I'm thinking making yourself lighter when you're traveling might be a lot quite helpful.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
I usually only stored up weight as a side effect of making myself lighter. It always seemed the more useful way to use iron.
Okay, so again, I think he's really, really emphasizing how we have not seen the awesomeness of ferrochem yet. I mean, we have a kind of an understanding because hello, the Lord Ruler was immortal because of ferrochemy, but also he was able to fight like a whole demon, really. So this kind of training of of the ferrochemy muscle would be insane, where you're storing and thinking about. So imagine Vin using this power. Vin would be thinking about how she's going to use it to defend herself, not just to I'll do this and then like it's just my everyday life. I can be a little bit lighter and things like that. She would use it combat wise. So I'm here for Sazed learning and thinking about all those kinds of things deeper than he usually would as a keeper.
Yeah, the other thing that your comment made me think of is that we have stories of the Lord Ruler coming back from being a skeleton, basically, or something to
Mm-hmm.
that effect. And now I'm wondering how much of that was normal feruchemy versus compounded feruchemy versus powers of the Well of Ascension.
Mm-hmm. Don't know. But hey, if he's a Fuhrer of ages, he would have access to that.
He released Pewter and felt his body deflating. Fortunately, stretching his body in such a manner didn't leave his skin loose. He went
Ah,
back.
sorry, that is another, I think that's another nod to the whole Kolos thing.
Hmm.
Oh, just making you think of the theory. I don't know if that should be like a hint that they are not the same thing, but it makes me think about what is going on with the Kolos, that its skin stretches and it yeah. It
Hmm.
just made me think Kolos, okay? Note.
He went back to his usual self, but with a dreadful sense of exhaustion and a faint soreness. The Kolos continued to beat on the gate. Sazed opened tired eyes, lying bare-chested in the falling snow and ash. His soldiers stood solemnly before him. So few, he thought. Barely 50 remained of his original 400. The square itself was red. Hmm?
I'm just exclaiming at the death.
Yeah. Sad.
Mm-hmm.
The square itself was red, as if painted with bright Kolos blood, and it mixed with the darker humankind. Distorted blue bodies lay alone or in heaps, interspersed with the twisted and torn pieces that were often all that remained of human bodies once they were hit by the brutal Kolos swords. The beating picked up to a frenzied pace, the gate shaking as the Kolos grew more frustrated. They could probably smell the blood, sense the flesh that had so nearly been theirs. Beam won't hold for long, one of the soldiers said quietly, a bit of ash floating down in front of his face. And the hinges are splintering. They're going to get through again. Sazed stumbled to his feet. And we will fight again. My lord, a voice said. Sazed turned to see one of Doxon's messengers ride around a pile of corpses. Lord Doxon says that. He trailed off, noticing for the first time that Sazed's gate was closed. How? The man began. Deliver your message, young man, Sazed said tiredly. Lord Doxon says you won't get any reinforcements. the man said, reining in his horse. Tingate has fallen, and... Tingate? Sazed asked. Tindville. When? Over an hour ago, my lord. An hour, he thought with shock. How long have we been fighting?
Okay. I wonder if Tindwyl has also gone She-Hulk, basically.
I have to imagine that she did.
Yeah, and maybe she was actually a bit smarter about her storing of things. And she also,
She's
yeah,
she certainly didn't need to travel halfway across the country at a brisk
exactly.
pace.
Yeah, and she's had longer. Okay, she did have to travel at much longer ago, and also she just hasn't been, saving the world and stuff like Sazed has. So she's had a lot more, and she's smart. So I mean, I'm not saying Sazed's stupid, but I'm saying she's cynical enough that that's actually how she would think about it. I feel like. So I'm
I
hoping she hulked.
Not only do I suspect that she-hulked, I have every bit of confidence that her knowledge of kings and emperors and leaders of the past will lend itself to her ability to take control of whatever forces she must at
Hmm.
Tingate.
Even though it's fallen, like I understand she's still a female chemist, but she's still formidable. And yeah, situation might be different there in terms of how many she's had to fight and all of that. But yeah, a fallen gate doesn't necessarily mean absolutely everyone is dead. Clearly,
Mm-hmm.
not yet.
You have to hold here, my lord, the young man said, turning and galloping back the way he had come. Sazed took a step to the east. Tindville. The thumping on his gate grew louder, and the board began to crack. The men ran for something else to use to secure the gate, but Sazed could see that the mountings that kept the board in place were beginning to pull apart. Once they fell, there would be no way to hold the gate closed. Sazed closed his eyes, feeling the weight of fatigue reaching into his pewter mind. It was nearly drained. After it was gone, he'd only have the tiny bit of strength in one of the rings. Yet what else could he do? He heard the board snap, and men yelled.
Great cliffhanger there of this POV. Very just so brave of him. And listen, the hero of ages stuff happening. There's thumping on the gate here and things like that. It's just making little notes, little reminders. Hero of ages hearing thumping in all of that. I know it's not he's not hearing the Well of Ascension, but it's just little reminders.
Yep.
Yeah, that are like, hey, consider if he could hear the thumping, if he could become something, and look how magical he is as well. So he's not he. It makes sense that the hero of ages would be magical in some way.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Back! Clubs yelled. Fall back into the city! The remnants of their army broke apart, pulling away from Zinkgate. Breeze watched with horror as more and more Kolos spilled into the square, overrunning the few men too weak or too wounded to retreat. The creatures swept forward like a great blue tide, a tide with swords of iron and eyes of red. Scary.
Mm-hmm. A tide. Great stuff. Run! Which is no. He's like, okay, he is. At least he's saying fall back. So I'll be like, yeah, I think I will. Thanks.
Yeah. In the sky, the sun, only faintly visible behind storm clouds, was a bleeding scar that crept toward the horizon. Breeze! Club snapped, pulling him back. Time to go! Their horses had long since bolted. Breeze stumbled after the general, trying not to listen to the snarling from behind. Fall back to the harrying positions! Clubs called to those men who could hear him. First squad, shore up inside Keep Lacole. Lord Hammond should be there by now, preparing the defenses. Squad 2 with me to keep hasting.
Hey, Lord Hammond.
We get Lord Hammond, but we couldn't give Spook a lordship? Come on, Elland. Rude.
Well, you would have to act lordly, okay?
I...
Well, no, that's wrong because Hammond doesn't act lordly. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm being ugly.
Look, no wonder Spook feels useless. He's not treated with the same respect that everyone else treats. Anyway,
Yeah,
this is
respect is gained, is earned. Anyway,
Yes.
he's not leading. That's the only thing. That's the difference. He's a spy. Spies aren't leaders. They shifty.
Look, treat the interns with respect.
Mm-hmm.
Treat the assistants like they're people.
People. Hmm.
All I'm saying is Spook was a part of the team, and if Ham got a lordship, so should Spook.
Ham is a whole general almost. Like he's a training guy. He's doing a lot. He's leading people. He's
Yes?
master of spies or master of whispers or whatever. Spook. So he should get a lordship. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Breeze continued on, his mind as numb as his feet. He'd been virtually useless in the battle. He'd tried to take away the men's fear, but his efforts had seemed so inadequate, like holding a piece of paper up to the sun to make shade. That seems an apt metaphor.
I enjoyed that. Mm-hmm.
A
Yeah,
visceral metaphor.
yeah, it's really good. It's just thinking of that. Like that is how horrible and how horrible. That is how powerful that fear is.
Yeah, and honestly, I do not expect Breeze to pick up a sword or dueling cane.
No.
I understand he's playing support.
It would be so cool if he could affect the Kolos, but yeah.
Clubs raised a hand and the squad of 200 men stopped. Breeze looked around. The street was quiet in the falling ash and snow. Everything seemed dull. The sky was dim, the city's features softened by the blanket of black speckled snow. It seemed so strange to have fled the horrific scene of scarlet and blue to find the city looking so lazy. Damn! Clubs snapped, pushing Breeze out of the way as a raging group of Kolos burst from a side street. Club's soldiers fell into a line, but another group of Kolos, the creatures that had broken through the gate, approached behind them. No, they're surrounded.
Oh god, is Breeze gonna die now? Oh no.
Breeze stumbled, falling in the snow. That other group. It came from the north. The creatures have infiltrated the city this far already? Clubs, Breeze said, turning. Breeze looked right in time to see a massive Kolos sword shear through Clubs's upraised arm, then continued on to hit the general in the ribs.
Ah. Okay, we knew this was coming. It doesn't make it any easier. Doesn't make it any easier.
Mm-hmm.
Especially just how you get the sheer violence of it, and that no, he's dead. He's dying. There's nothing. He's not coming back from that. Sheared through the arm. Ugh. It's so gruesome. It's so visceral. It's so painful. Oh, Clubs. Uncle Grumpy.
And it's so matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
It just happened.
Mm-hmm. You're like, this is real. This is really happening. It does that. You get that feeling of that. Whoa, this is really happening. Oh my god! And the disbelief kind of Breeze gets in there as well somehow, just with the way these words are put together. Oof.
Yeah. Now, with regard to our prediction as to whether or not Breeze was going to die in this book,
Mm-hmm.
without giving away the end of this chapter, and I say that earnestly, because I think the way I'm going to word it will continue to leave it ambiguous. If Breeze dies in this chapter, prediction fulfilled. If he
Mm-hmm.
does not die in this chapter, I don't believe he dies in the book at all.
Okay. Yeah. If he's gonna die, it should be now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But there could be a twist. Who knows with Sanderson?
Yeah. Breeze looked right in time to see a massive Kolos sword shear through Clubs' upraised arm, then continue on to hit the general in the ribs. Clubs grunted, thrown to the side, his sword arm, weapon and all, flying free. He stumbled on his bad leg, and the Kolos brought his sword down in a two-handed blow. The dirt snow finally got some color, a splash of red.
Mm. I'm kind of glad that he doesn't talk about where that two-handed blow went. Like, it does make it more horrific because actually then your mind goes to figure out where he was hit. But yeah, I like the movement from being very, very clear on what the violence is to two-handed blow.
Yeah.
That's great writing.
Rest in peace, clubs.
Mm-hmm. You can go and carve things and chill. You did so well.
Hmm. You got to say goodbye to Spook.
Mm-hmm.
So, as cowardly as Spook feels, he has been, I hope, in whatever afterlife exists in this world, Clubs is proud of himself, and I hope Spook forgives himself. Because I still don't think he did anything wrong, but Kitty, you clearly still disagree.
Mm-hmm. He should have told. That's all I'm saying. He should have told.
Breeze stared, dumbfounded, at the pieces of his friend's corpse. Then the Kolos turned toward Breeze, snarling. The likelihood of his own impending death struck, stirring him as even the cold snow couldn't. Breeze scrambled back, sliding in the snow instinctively, reaching out to try soothing the creature. Of course, nothing happened.
You
Breeze
don't know that. You don't know that. Okay, sorry.
You don't, but I'm prepared to bet nothing happened.
Because it said nothing happened.
Breeze tried to get to his feet, and the Kolos, along with several others, began to bear down on him. At that moment, another troop of soldiers fleeing the gate appeared from a cross street, distracting the Kolos. Breeze did the only thing that seemed natural. He crawled inside a building and hid.
Yeah.
And the way that's written makes it sound so pathetic, and I think, to a point, that's by design,
Mm-hmm.
but also understandable.
It's understandable because we know what he's good at and what he isn't. We don't expect him, like you said, to just pick up a sword and like that's just not him. It's not useful. He would just be a tiny temporary distraction and then he'll be knocked out completely dead. I think this shows the way he feels about it himself.
Mm-hmm.
He is doing the only thing he can, but he crawled inside a building and hid like with the crawling. It's like he doesn't feel good about that.
Yeah. And also, because I didn't articulate it before, when I had first read What Happened to Clubs, I did have that sort of heavy feeling in
Mm-hmm.
oneself. Like, it was a very sad thing to read. And I'm glad
Yeah,
we got to go through it with you, Kitty, in real time.
I actually think it does help to. I think if I read it alone, I would be probably have put the book down a little bit and whatever. So
I
it makes it,
remember,
I can cope. Yeah.
yeah. No, I remember reading that paragraph a couple of times, trying to figure out, is this fatal or is it not? And it wasn't until I saw the word corpse that I was
Mm,
like forced to be like, okay, yeah, confirmed.
yeah. Oh, that's just very brutal death.
Yeah. This is all Kelthier's fault, Doxon muttered, making another notation on his map. According to messengers, Ham had reached Keep Lacal. It wouldn't last long. The Venture Grand Hall was a flurry of motion and chaos as panicked scribes ran this way and that, finally realizing that Kolos didn't care if a man were scholar, nobleman, or merchant. The creatures simply liked to kill. He should have seen this coming, Doxon continued. He left us with the mess, and then he assumed we'd find a way to fix it. Well, I can't hide a city from its enemies, not like I hid a crew. Just because we were excellent thieves didn't mean we'd be any good at running a kingdom. No,
Oh, don't worry about it. We would have voted for you anyway, Doxson. I've been convinced. So
I
yes,
can't
great.
tell if you're being sarcastic or not.
No, no, no. Great frustration. I understand, but you have been really good, really good. The fact that just that they were prepared at all in any way. I think they were as prepared as we could expect them. Obviously, I was like, "Hello, oil. Your stones are really small." That whole thing, but what do you expect from them? They aren't seasoned veterans of centuries of war. They've got centuries of peace. So they did the best they could. And yeah, I love this thing of just like, you're gonna curse Calcia whenever you can, I suppose. It's all Calcia's fault. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so dying to know. One of the first things I wanted to ask you if you had read this chapter would be how you feel about Doxon now. So as we go through this, know that I'm eager to hear because I know you've been frustrated with him. recently.
I've been disconnected from him and frustrated. Yes.
And it is that feeling that I want to inquire about
Mhm.
throughout this process.
Well, what were you feeling?
I was feeling that by the end of this, you will feel much more connected to him.
Yay.
I think
'Cause
I
I
can
already
say
do.
that without spoiling the
Already.
story.
No, but I really do already, just from being in his POV
Cool.
and just hearing what he's feeling. Yeah.
Nobody was listening to him. His messengers had all fled, and his guards fought at the keep gates. Each of the keeps had its own defenses, but clubs, rightly, had decided to use them only as a fallback option. They weren't designed to repel a large-scale attack, and they were too secluded from each other. Retreating to them only fractured and isolated the human army.
Uh, just the fact that he starts using clubs, so he's speaking about clubs, it's just like, it's too soon, okay, I can't. And obviously he doesn't know, so the drama of the last POV is still, it smarts, it hurts.
Yeah, clubs was invoked very specifically here by Sanderson to heighten the emotionalness of this scene, I think.
Mm-hmm.
A real problem is follow through, Doxson said, making a final notation at Tin Gate, explaining what had happened there. He looked over the map. He'd never expected Sazed's Gate to be the last one to hold. Now, is that because
Mm-hmm.
it just happened to be the least noted by the Kolos, or does it happen to be that Sazed is special and
And
awesome?
we didn't, yeah, he's special and awesome, and we didn't plan to utilize the ferrochemists that
Hmm.
way because they've not really been forthcoming about it. They've been private about it, and they've not shown anyone what they can do
Yeah.
until the last minute.
Follow through, he continued. We assumed we could do a better job than the noblemen, but once we had the power, we put them back in charge. If we'd killed the whole lot, perhaps then we could have started fresh.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay, okay, of course. Yes, okay, he's going to consider that. He's
Mm.
practical that way, but I don't know about killing the lot. Do you need to kill all of them, Doxson? Do you need to kill them all? Or you could say, "Hey, get in line, and we're in charge now."
Mm.
What?
So much. Of course, that would have meant invading the other dominances, which would have meant sending Vin to take care of the most important, most problematic noblemen. There would have been a slaughter like the final empire had never seen. And if we'd done that.
If we done that, what? What? What would it make you, Doxson? Yeah,
This is an apotheosis for Doxson, I think. Is that the right word for it?
I suppose.
And I'm
I'm just.
sorry, I
Mhm,
know you get so frustrated with Doxson's darker thoughts on the matter.
mhm. No, but he's having. It seems like he's having. He has them, but he knows they've got
Yeah.
consequences.
Also, I want to cut virtually this entire monologue for the trailer, not visually, which might give away certain plot relevant things, but the voiceover. I
Mhm,
want this monologue to play over other scenes.
mhm.
He trailed off, looking up as one of the enormous, majestic stained glass windows shattered. The others began to explode as well, broken by thrown rocks. A few large kolos jumped through the holes, landing on the shard-strewn marble floor. Even broken, the windows were beautiful, the spiked glass edges twinkling in the evening light. Through one of them, Doxson could see that the storm was breaking, letting sunlight through. What does that mean? The broken dirtied venture hall, but with a glimpse of sunlight.
So beautiful. Mhm.
It's
Is there a hope? But also, yeah, it's just, even so, it's still beautiful. I like that he's noticing those things, and I've seen his next line, and I'm very proud of him.
yes, and that is the moment that I was
Mhm,
waiting for you because this is. I think this
mhm.
is supposed to be his redemption.
Yes, it is. It helps you go. You haven't. He's purposefully the whole time kept Doxson's mind away from you. You've only had his words. You haven't had his inner thoughts, and exactly what's going on. You've only had other characters looking at him and hearing him, and that has made me go, how dark are his thoughts? He's only saying them out loud, but he doesn't have the moral line at the end. He doesn't do it. So now you finally hear it. This is a great moment. This is a I think as now I see the payoff from feeling disconnected from him. You get back. You get him back, and that makes me go, oh my god, is he gonna die?
Yeah, and I will still argue that I wish Sanderson had given him some serious action, an action that he could have taken to really display
Mhm.
his hatred for the nobleman in this book. I think the book is it loses a point or two because Doxson was so absent from everything that was happening, such that we didn't get to see the hatred interfere with his work. And that sort of takes away a little bit from this moment of redemption in my mind, but it doesn't make that this redemption scene any less well written. It is still a very powerful scene.
Mhm. I can see it working the other way, the way you've said, but I really do appreciate the way he did do it. Where this you have this removal and this uncertainty about Doxson. It's a quite dynamic way to do a redemption. We don't just have the same format of will this person be redeemed, through their actions and whatever. I like the distance and not knowing, because that's actually something that these characters do experience with each other, is distance from each other. They're not communicating. That Vin is not speaking to him. That we don't know him the way we used to, and that's what Vin is going through, or anyone in the crew is going through. So I like the way he did this. I agree it could work. It could have been powerful the other way, but yeah, it's all worth it in my opinion. I'm enjoying
Sure.
it. I think maybe it works so well for me because I was so upset with Doxson. It works for me.
I'm glad.
Mhm.
If we'd done that, Doxson said quietly, we'd have been no better than beasts. Scribes screamed, trying to flee as the Kolos began the slaughter. Doxson stood quietly, hearing noise behind, grunts, harsh breathing. As Kolos approached through the back hallways, he reached for the sword on his table as men began to die. Also, it was at this point in the chapter that I wondered what was up with Penrod and the rest.
Hmm. I feel like they're not doing anything. They're hiding.
Hmm.
But it would be nice if they rushed in and had their own
Yeah.
redemption arc.
He closed his eyes. You know, Kel, he thought, I almost started to believe that they were right, that you were watching over us, that you were some sort of god.
Oh, this is all happening in slow motion for me.
Me too.
Oh no, he's just walking sadly to his death. Oh, I didn't think about Doxson dying it because I was like President Doxson. That's the thing.
Right?
Mm.
He opened his eyes and turned, pulling the sword from its sheath. Then he froze, staring at the massive beast approaching. So big. Doxson gritted his teeth, sending a final curse Kelsier's way, then charged, swinging. The creature caught his weapon in an indifferent hand, ignoring the cut it caused. Then it brought its own weapon down, and blackness followed.
Not confirmed death. Oh well, I think he's dead.
Uh, no body, no death.
Mm.
Not confirmed.
I don't want
That
it.
is
Okay. No, I don't want. Yeah. Okay. I will
that is what I've been telling myself this entire
chapter.
chapter.
Okay. But I mean,
I don't.
that's like Soprano. Never mind. That is. Have you finished
Oh
Soprano?
wow. No, I have not finished
Okay.
Sopranos.
Fuck.
But
Fuck.
thanks for that one.
No. No. Erase this from your memory.
For those who don't know, I'm in like what is it, season
How
4?
have you not finished it by now? Binge hard.
Reasons I intend to though, eventually. Okay,
Well,
I forgive you for that.
I knew it how it ended anyway, and still it was good. Anyway.
It's been out for more than a month. It's okay.
More than a month.
Look, I feel very confident that the Kolos merely knocked out Doxin because they think they are humans and they're going to be like, hey, we got your leader. Isn't this guy your leader? He's the one everyone was listening to. Now we negotiate with Straff,
Mm,
right? We have your leader.
I don't think so. I don't
No, I don't think so either, but
know. No.
darn it,
But
no body unconfirmed.
mhm.
Doxin redeemed, though. I think that's fair to say, and that was certainly, if it's true, and I don't believe it's true, that was an epic way to go.
I think it'll be so cruel if it's confirmed later that he died, because it's like you did give him this great send off. It really is a great send off, but we didn't know it was a send off. You gave us this hope, you asshole.
Yeah, I don't think he would cliffhanger it if he
Mm-hmm.
intended for it to lead to a death. And the phrase blackness followed
Mm-hmm.
implies to me, like, it doesn't say, and then there was nothingness,
Yes.
or anything like that. Blackness followed implies unconsciousness to me.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe I'm coping. I don't know.
But even nothingness also has been used with people unconscious,
Hmm.
and then nothing. Like, I don't know. Point is, we're coping, and we're fine with that because we just had him redeemed, and not even because I think even if he hadn't been redeemed, I'd still be like, no, Doxon, I want him to be alive to be redeemed. So,
Mm-hmm. My lord, Yanarl said, the city has fallen. Look, you can see it burning. The Kolos have penetrated all but one of the 4 gates under attack, and they run wild in the city. They aren't stopping to pillage, they're just killing, slaughtering. There aren't many soldiers left to oppose them. Straff sat quietly, watching Luthadel burn. It seemed a symbol to him, a symbol of justice. He'd fled this city once, leaving it to the Ska vermin inside, and when he'd come back to demand it be returned to him, the people had resisted. They had been defiant. They had earned this.
okay. Cool, Straff. You're really cool. Oh, you're so justified. Moving on.
The hubris, and even Yanarl is like,
Hey.
this is getting dark.
Yeah.
Which makes me wonder if Yanarl is gonna coup, but I think he's still afraid of Zane.
Yeah. It hasn't been long enough for anybody to go. Where is Zane? And then when you do go in and fight, it's like, why is Zane not fighting? That should be a clue.
Yeah. My lord, Yanarl said, the Kolos army is weakened enough already. Their numbers are hard to count, but the corpses they left behind indicate that as much as a third of their force has fallen. We can take them. No, Straff said, shaking his head. Not yet. My lord, Yanarl said, let the Kolos have the damn city, Straff said quietly. Let them clear it out and burn the whole thing to the ground. Fires can't hurt our atium. In fact, they'll probably make the metal easier to find.
Mm.
I...
Yeah, General is not making, not General's not making peace with this very well, very easily. It's like, yeah, just burn the whole city then. Well, what are we? We'll rule over the ashes, I suppose. And we'll have Atium. Cool. Oh no!
rebuild it, make it better.
Oh no! And he's like, he's gonna take care of him later. Thanks, Straff.
Yeah.
He's got too many morals. You're gonna have to take care of him.
Yep. I... Yanarl seemed shocked. He didn't object further, but his eyes were rebellious. I'll have to take care of him later, Straff thought. He'll rise against me if he finds out Jane is gone.
Oh, that's so cute. You said if. It's when, love. They're going to find out. I don't know how you understand, how you think that you're going to just keep this ruse going. Like, literally, we're going to have a battle, and there's going to be no Mistborn there. And if anything, if you try to keep that whole charade up, that, oh, no, Zane is still working for me or whatever, it'll be like, you didn't put the Mistborn there to help us with the Kolos. You didn't. Is he so out of control that you can't tell him what to do? Hello? Yeah. Okay. Hubris, Straff, whatever. Enjoy.
It's hubris, it's also paranoia, and it also speaks to this is something so dark and so evil that even the generals are like
Hello.
this is a crime against humanity. This is
Mhm.
something that goes so beyond mere warfare into we need to be better than this as
Yeah,
people.
this is atrocity. Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't matter at the moment. The city had rejected him, and so it would die. He'd build a better one in its place, one dedicated to Straff, not the Lord Ruler.
Sure, sure, sure. Enjoy that thought. It obviously is very well set up to parallel what's her name? Ellen's way. They rejected me, but I'm still going to save them. They rejected me, but I still want to help them. They rejected me, so they're gonna die. You know, that perfect symmetry there.
Yep,
Well, not symmetry, asymmetry. Perfect asymmetry. Father!
Alrion said urgently. Set shook his head. He sat on his horse beside his daughters on a hill to the west of Luthadel. He could see Straff's army gathered to the north, watching, as he did, the death throes of a doomed city.
We have to help!
Alrion insisted. No, Set said quietly, shrugging off the effects of her rioting his emotions. He'd grown used to her manipulations long ago. Our help wouldn't matter now,
We have to do something!
Alrion said, pulling his arm. No, Set said more forcefully.
But you came back! Why did we return if not to help?
We will help, Set said quietly. We'll help Straff take the city when he wishes, then we'll submit to him and hope he doesn't kill us.
Ugh.
See, and that right there, reading it the first time, I thought to myself, Straff's gonna kill you. He will attack you almost immediately.
Yeah, guaranteed.
Yeah, because Straff is high on drugs and vengeance right now. He's willing to let the Kolos decimate the city to rubble, to literal rubble.
Yes, so that he can rebuild in his own name. He doesn't give a shit. So
Yeah.
you'll stand in his way by being any other force.
And at this point, considering just how long Straff is waiting, it wouldn't surprise me if Straff could take on both the Kolos and Set, who has the smaller force, who has the smaller force because of Vin's attack.
Yeah, and I guess that's why, as well, Set is feeling this way. He's like, well, I can't. If I go in there, I'm vulnerable to Straff as well. So this is the only way to stay alive is to hope. So I guess it's guaranteed that he'll be killed if he helps Straff. But then on the other end, it's also guaranteed he dies if he goes and helps.
Yeah, I think maybe Set should have, and because it does sound like the city held out better than it was expected to. I think Set maybe should have gone in a bit sooner, flanked the Kolos, and maybe then together, maybe they wouldn't have outright won, but they would have held out longer. I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, but I get what Set's doing here, and he's just like as soon as Straff goes, he'll go. So I understand. Alrion is right, but Set's just saving his bacon.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't have any charitability towards Straff. He'll kill Set.
Yeah. He's gonna kill his own general there. So come on. He's
We will help. We'll help Straff take the city when he wishes, then we'll submit to him and hope he doesn't kill us. Alrion paled.
That's it? That's why we returned, so that you can give our kingdom to that monster.
What else did you expect? You know me, Alrion. You know that this is the choice I have to make.
I thought I knew you,
she snapped.
I thought you were a good man, down deep.
Down deep or deep down?
No, she said down deep.
Interesting, I have deep down.
Which one do you prefer? Do you want me to say it?
Yeah, I mean, deep down sounds more normal to me, but anyway, it's like, did you though? Did you?
She did. I think maybe you have that hope for your father.
Yeah, that's true. Set shook his head. The good men are all dead, Alrion. They died inside that city.
Well,
they didn't have to, Set. You could have come to help in the first place.
Yeah, but he's not a good man. He's already let us know that. But hey, at least he thinks the other guys are. He can at least notice who is good and who isn't. And he's like, yeah, the good men died. Thanks. I guess that's all we're going to get from you is that you recognize that they were good men. Thanks.
Sazed fought on. He was no warrior. He didn't have honed instincts or training. He calculated that he should have died hours before, yet somehow he managed to stay alive. Perhaps it was because the Kolos didn't fight with skill either. They were blunt, like their giant wedge-like swords, and they simply threw themselves at their opponents with little thought of tactics.
Yeah, that's probably it. I get it. They are formidable to humans, but when you're kind of evenly matched, yeah. And that means again, woo, Saze training montage.
Yes!
Mhm.
That should have been enough. Yet Sazed held, and where he held, his few men held with him. The Kolos had rage on their side, but Sazed's men could see the weak and elderly standing, waiting at the edge of the square. The soldiers knew why they fought. This reminder seemed enough to keep them going, even when they began to be surrounded, the Kolos working their way into the edges of the square. That's... yeah, morale and that kind of thing is
Yeah,
important in a war. It does make a difference.
yeah, interesting way to push that button. Obviously, you don't want them right there, but yeah, it's like an elementer being there and reminding them of their emotions attached to what they're fighting for.
Mm-hmm. Sazed knew by now that no relief would come. He'd hoped that Straff would decide to take the city, as clubs had suggested, but it was too late for that. Night was approaching, the sun inching toward the horizon. And that had me wondering, what happens when the mist comes out?
Mm?
Because I imagine many of the soldiers might be too afraid to fight in the mists. How can you see in the mists? I mean, how much light is there? How much fires? I mean, I guess the city will be burning, which might grant some visibility. But if you can't fight in the night and the mist, then
It will,
the Kolos will be able to recharge.
yeah. And I also think they it would reduce into wouldn't be any structure because you can't see each other from far. You can't. It would just descend into chaos. I mean, that's what happens with nighttime. Yes, people would be more scared. They would run. I don't know how the Kolos react to the mists, but yeah,
Mm.
it's just not good. That's all I can say.
The other thing to note is I think twice now in this book, Vin has tried to draw upon the mist the way she did in the first book. And
Hmm.
obviously, at the end of the first book, we had her draw upon the mist.
Hmm.
So I'm wondering if something like that might happen again. And then I'm wondering, do I want something like that to happen again? Or would it feel like Sanderson is repeating himself? And I don't think he is. I suspect if we do get that again, we're going to get some sort of expansion or
Yeah,
finally some mechanics behind it.
yeah.
But the thought did come into my mind.
I mean, what if it is okay? Well, we have the theory that the Well of Ascension is mobile. Marsh has maybe moved it or something. I don't know, but you know, Vin drawing on the myths. Maybe that was her drawing on the Well of Ascension. Who knows?
Hmm.
But we
Yeah,
also we also don't think that she's capable of that because she's not supposed to be the hero of ages anyway. I don't.
yeah. So that's another thing. If slash when Vin gets into the city, I can only assume she's not going to be able to spend her time fighting the Kolos. Her first and primary priority is likely going to be, I have to find the Well of Ascension. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Which
She'll
means
kill along the way. I think so.
what?
She'll kill along the way.
She'll kill along the way, absolutely, but I have to imagine that her main priority won't be stopping the Kolos, but getting to the well.
Yeah.
And considering our opinions on whether or not it's her aside, I have to wonder if she's going to try in this book.
Mm.
I'm very curious.
Things are
If
moving.
that's
Yeah.
possible too.
Yeah.
I suspect maybe the well was always in the city.
Mm-hmm.
And when she drew upon the mist, that was her drawing upon the well.
Mm.
Mm, she did it in the presence of the Lord Ruler, which could have been a thing. Maybe it was in that room.
Yeah, but
But
what's
it seems like it would be a weird. But why would Reshek put the Well of Ascension essentially in his throne room? Why wouldn't it be hidden somewhere? And surely it might have been found if it were in the throne room.
mm-hmm. Exactly, and also the thumping. We decided the thumping was the deepness. Now we've decided it's the Well of Ascension pulsing. So
Vin wouldn't have felt the thumping, I imagine, in any severity. While, no, that's not true. She did feel the thumping in the first book. It was just far away and very
Yeah.
light. Now, part of that could have been that Rashek was feeding into it, but another part of it could be that it was far away. So, hmm, hmm. But it was too late for that. Night was approaching, the sun inching toward the horizon. The end is finally here, Sazed thought as the man next to him was struck down. Sazed slipped on blood, and the move saved him as the Kolos swung over his head. Divine intervention.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps Tindwyl had found a way to safety. Hopefully Elend would deliver the things he and she had studied. They were important, Sazed thought, even if he didn't know why. Sanderson hitting that note again.
Mm-hmm.
Sazed attacked, swinging the sword he'd taken from a Kolos. He
Woo!
enhanced his...
Love that.
Yes,
He's not just throwing. Like, I guess, yeah, using a sword is a lot easier than throwing all the colas all the time.
yeah. He enhanced his muscles in a final burst, giving them strength right as the sword met Kolos' flesh. He hit. The resistance, the wet sound of impact, the shock up his arm, these were familiar to him now. Bright Kolos blood sprayed across him, and another of the monsters fell, and Sazed's strength was gone. Pewter tapped bare, the Kolos sword was now heavy in his hands. He tried to swing it at the next Kolos in line, but the weapon slipped from his weak, numb, tired fingers.
Mm-hmm. Everyone's dying. I know that we said everyone would die. Like, like that's what the whole plan is. I know that we didn't think Sazed would die, but like, this is it. This is what it would be like. Oh, God, I hate all of this.
At no point did I think Sazed would die, even now.
Mm.
At,
Okay. Yeah, but that still doesn't make you like not feel despair for him. Like,
no, he
looking
still
for
has to go through it.
yeah, you're looking for the way out for him, and you're like, well, how?
Yeah. I did almost expect Tindwyl to show up.
Mm.
Yeah. The Kolos was a big one. Nearing 12 feet tall, it was the largest of the monsters Sazed had seen. Sazed tried to step away, but he stumbled over the fresh corpse of a killed soldier. As he fell, his men finally broke, the last dozen scattering. They'd held well. Too well. Perhaps if he'd let them retreat. No, Sazed thought, looking up at his death. I did well, I think. Better than any mere scholar should have been able to.
Yes, you did. You did, Sazed.
Mm-hmm. These death thoughts, they're so sad. And you did do well.
Mm-hmm.
He thought about the rings on his fingers. They could perhaps give him a bit of an edge, let him run, flee. Yet he couldn't summon the motivation. Why resist? Why had he resisted in the first place? He'd known that they were doomed.
Don't let the rich take you.
No, don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
You are wrong about me, Tindwyl, he thought. I do give up sometimes. I gave up on this city long ago. You did, Sazed. Shame on you.
Yeah, because you left. Didn't think about it. Yeah, but also shame on you. But also you did well.
The Kolos loomed over Sazed, who still lay half sprawled in the bloody slush, and raised its sword. Over the creature's soldier, Sazed could see the red sun hanging right above the top of the wall. He focused on that, rather than on the falling sword. He could see rays of sunlight like shards of glass in the sky. The sunlight seemed to sparkle, twinkling, coming for him, as if the sun itself were welcoming him, reaching down to accept his spirit. And so I die. A twinkling droplet of light sparkled in the sunbeam, then hit the Kolos directly in the back of the skull. The creature grunted, stiffening, dropping its sword. It collapsed to the side,
Coin. Okay.
and Sazed lay stupefied on the ground for a moment. Then he looked up at the top of the wall. What do you think it is?
Yay! It's Vin.
A small figure stood silhouetted by the sun. Black before the red light, a cloak flapped gently on her back. Sazed blinked. The bit of sparkling light he'd seen. It had been a coin. The Kolos before him was dead. Vin had returned.
Ah, that's so fucking epic. I don't care. I don't care. You can call it cheesy. You can think, nah, Vinix Machina. It's cool. It's cool. It's the rule of cool. Oh, oh, that like music swelling. And, he really did a great job of, and so I die. Like we knew it wasn't going to happen, but it's still good. It's still good. It's more like, how are we going to do it? How are we going to do it, this sentence? And so how are we going to do this cool thing? Because you need to, you've got someone that cool and capable, and using them is fine. Okay, that's it. They've gone through some stuff to get you on time, so it's fine. I'm good. Oh, sorry, reeling. What were you going to say?
It's definitely cinematic,
Mm-hmm.
but the eeriness of what the church or the ska religious folk
Mm-hmm.
said earlier is instilled in me. This is only going to embolden them, and I don't know if that's good or bad.
Well, they'll be alive. Okay. A little bit, mostly. I don't know. Like she's saving him. You've said that she's going to be looking for the Well of Ascension, but obviously she has right now just saved him. So I wonder. I mean, I'm saying she'll kill on her way. Just coins through everyone's heads. Pew 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 pew. Oh, efficient killing machine. Oh, Vin.
Excellent. She jumped, leaping as only an Alamancer could, to soar in a graceful arc above the square. She landed directly in the midst of the Colossus and spun. Coins shot out like angry insects, cutting through blue flesh. The creatures didn't drop as easily as humans would have, but the attack got their attention. The Colossus turned away from the fleeing soldiers and defenseless townspeople. The ska at the back of the square began to chant. It was a bizarre sound to hear in the middle of a battle. Sazed sat up, ignoring his pains and exhaustion as Vin jumped. The city gate suddenly lurched its hinges, twisting. The Kolos had already beaten on it so hard. The massive wooden door burst free from the wall, pulled by Vin. So that chanting seems, again, a bit disconcerting.
Mm-hmm. Parshindy-ish. But no,
Oh,
I
yeah.
get it. No, you know what? The chanting also would make her care about saving the people, like doing this practicality instead of looking for the Well of Ascension. She doesn't know what's going to happen with the Well of Ascension. I don't know. I don't know what's in her mind.
Hmm.
But yeah, this chanting. She ran there thinking, how dare they die? How dare they die? And yeah, it makes sense that she would be there to save them.
Yeah.
She would do everything she could, and especially because Sazed's there, and now these people are chanting, and yeah, that's what she's doing there. She's gonna fight to the end. Oh, love her.
Such power, Sazed thought numbly.
Right?
She, yeah,
I know, it's so cool. It's the rule of cool, and you noticed it's cool. Anyway.
I noticed it's cool, yes. She must be pulling on something behind herself, but that would mean that poor Win is being yanked between two weights as heavy as that gate. Yet she did it, lifting the gate door with a heave, pulling it toward herself. The huge hardwood gate crashed through the Kolos ranks, scattering bodies. Vin twisted expertly in the air, pulling herself to the side, swinging the gate as if it were tethered to her by a chain. Kolos flew in the air, bones cracking, sprayed like splinters before the enormous weapon. In a single sweep, Vin cleared the entire courtyard.
Of course she did. Of course she did. Because she's smart. She's not gonna just sit well, I suppose I was like, coins, coins, coins. No. Use tools. That's it. She did a whole battering ram. She cleaned them out. God, so cool. We need her to be this cool. Ah, yeah. Sorry. I'm
Yes.
just enjoying it so much.
And at this point, I had wondered to myself, did she meet up with the rest first? Did she refill on medals yet? And
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But I also wondered, okay, so wait, which direction did they leave? Meaning, which direction was she coming from? And remind me again which gate Sazed held.
I don't know. I'm not asking those questions because it's cool, Dorcas. Jeez.
What's wrong with wanting to know those things?
Because then you're trying to make it so like, oh, it didn't work. It doesn't make sense. Like, I'm like, no, it makes all the perfect sense because it's cool.
That's not why I asked. I was just genuinely curious
Mhm.
because knowing what direction she was coming from, presumably the north, and for some reason I think Sazed's on the east, it makes me think that maybe she did like stop with the others
Oh,
before getting to Sazed.
okay. I'm not mad at you or anything. I'm not accusing you of anything. I'm too busy being in it right now to think. I
Sure.
didn't have those thoughts.
Sure. Let's get back into it then.
Mhm.
Kolos flew in the air, bones cracking, sprayed like splinters before the enormous weapon. In a single sweep, Vin cleared the entire courtyard. The gate dropped. Vin landed amid a group of crushed bodies, silently kicking a soldier's war staff up into her hands. The remaining Kolos outside the gate paused only briefly, then charged. Vin began to attack, swiftly, but precisely. Skulls cracked, Kolos falling dead in the slush as they tried to pass her. She spun, sweeping a few of them to the ground, spraying ashen red slush across those running up behind.
Man, we need to see this. Uh, anime. Do it anime style.
Yeah, really saturate that red blood. I I have to do something, Sazed thought, shaking off his stupefaction. He was still bare-chested, the cold ignored because of his brass mind, which was also running low. Vin continued to fight, felling Kolos after Kolos. Even her strengths won't last forever. She can't save the city. Saza, did you not just shame yourself for not believing in the city before?
Mm-hmm. Get her
Why not?
get her some ammo, boy. Get her some.
Yes, help her.
You've got speed supposedly, so go and you're not running away. You're looking for resources.
Get to work.
Mm.
Sazed forced himself to his feet, then moved toward the back of the square. He grabbed the old man at the front of the crowd of Ska, shaking the man out of his chanting. You were right, Sazed said. She returned. Yes, holy first witness. She will be able to give us some time, I think, Sazed said. The Kolos have broken into the city. We need to gather what people we can and escape. Yes,
Oh,
good. I
I don't
mean,
know if they're gonna do
no,
this,
but good.
but yeah, they yes, it's good. Get rid, like save the people, okay? But I don't think they're gonna. My expectation right now is they're not gonna want to leave.
Hmm. For a moment, Sazed thought the old man would object, that he would claim Vin would protect them, would defeat the entire army.
See,
Then,
Sawzit also
thankfully,
okay.
yeah, then thankfully he nodded. We'll run out the northern gate, Sazed said urgently. That is where the Kolos first entered the city, and so it is likely that they have moved on from that area. I hope, Sazed thought, rushing off to raise the warning. The fallback, defensive positions were supposed to be the high noble keeps. Perhaps they would find survivors there.
Okay, so no more extra metal for Vin. She's just gonna have to deal with it herself. Or Asura, well, I mean, Tensoon, come on, bring her something. Anyway, that's too much ex machina.
Perhaps. So, Breeze thought, it turns out that I'm a coward. You held out pretty damn long, and what else could you have done?
And you saw your friend, literally your best friend. Like Ham, we thought Ham was his bestie. No, no, clubs.
Yes.
Hmm.
But also, he's going through a very traumatic
Mm.
experience right now, so can't blame him. It was not a surprising revelation. He had said it was important for a man to understand himself, and he had always been aware of his selfishness, so he was not at all shocked to find himself huddling against the flaking bricks of an old Ska home, shutting his ears to the screams outside. Where was that proud man now? The careful diplomat, the soother with his immaculate suits? He was gone, leaving behind this quivering, useless mass. He tried several times to burn brass, to soothe the men fighting outside. However, he couldn't accomplish this most simple of actions. He couldn't even move.
Wow, so he's frozen. He's getting this. Wow. Okay, this is not just him running away. It's like he is shocked. Into,
Yeah,
he can't even elements.
yeah, this is. It's something that happens, I think.
Mm-hmm.
People just
No,
shut down entirely.
It's a silly, weird defense mechanism. It's freeze. It's not flight or fight. It's freeze.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can get shut in your body. Your body will not move.
Yep. He couldn't even move, unless one counted trembling as movement. Fascinating, Breeze thought as if looking at himself from the outside, seeing the pitiful creature in the ripped, bloodied suit. So this is what happens to me when the stress gets too strong? It's ironic in a way. I've spent a lifetime controlling the emotions of others. Now I'm so afraid I can't even function.
Very, very weird, cool perspective to be in. Trauma does that. It like takes you out of your body. So he's like seeing himself from outside. But you have this witty commentary, this self-deprecating commentary on the inside of this. It's pretty good.
Yep. The fighting continued outside. It was going on an awful long time. Shouldn't those soldiers be dead? Breeze? He couldn't move to see who it was. Sounds like Ham. That's funny. He should be dead too. Lord, I expected you to react to Ham, but okay.
No, I'm glad Ham is alive, but I'm just like, okay, well, where is he? But like, is this a dream? Come on, tell me what's going on. I'm in suspense. That's my reaction.
Lord Ruler, Ham said, coming into Breeze's view. He wore a bloodied sling on one arm. He fell urgently to Breeze's side. Breeze, can you hear me? And obviously, in the movie, this
Mhm.
is all done with a sound dampener, like a
Mhm.
muffled.
Mhm. Yeah, because we did. That's and all of this is done that way. And he's even Breeze. Can you hear me? So like he isn't even reacting. His face hasn't even reacted to. Yes, he recognizes Ham, but he hasn't even reacted that. Oh, Ham is here. You can. That's why he's asking. Can you hear me? Hello. So he's properly shaken him. I like this. I like this a lot. As in, I like how it's described.
Agreed. We saw him duck in here, my lord, another voice said. A soldier? Took shelter from the fight. We could feel him soothing us, though. Kept us fighting, even when we should have given up, after Lord Cladent died. And the big thing there is they could still feel the soothing, even though he
Mm.
felt he couldn't function.
Yeah, he said he wasn't doing it. So hello, he's been helping, and that's how they found him. That's so great. This is heroic anyway. He's still been soothing them, and he's obviously been thinking badly about himself. I love that this is how they found him. They could feel him, and they know he's helping them. That's great. Oh.
Yup, I'm a coward. And again, it speaks to the fact that no one's expecting him to be a soldier.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. They're not like, oh, here's the scum. Here's the coward, my lord. No, they're like, we could feel him. He kept us fighting. Like they are
Mm-hmm.
like, wow, he's our support here.
Yep. Another figure appeared, Sazed, looking concerned.
Oh shit, we've done a time jump. Wow.
Yeah, a little bit of one.
Yeah.
Sazed showing up.
Yeah, because Sazed, I don't know where he's gone. He's trying to get people out the city, and so there's been like a little bit of a time jump for me, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Another figure appeared, Sazed, looking concerned. Breeze, Ham said, kneeling. My keep fell, and Sazed's gate is down. We haven't heard anything from Doxon in over an hour, and we found Clubs's body. Please, the Kolos are destroying the city. We need to know what to do. Well, don't ask me, Breeze said, or tried to say. He thought it came out as a mumble. I can't carry you, Breeze, Ham said. My arm is nearly useless. Well, that's all right, Breeze mumbled. You see, my dear man, I don't think I'm of much use anymore. You should move on. It's quite all right if you just leave me here. And it's important to note that all of these mumbles are written italicized, meaning he's thinking these things, not
Yeah,
saying them.
I love that. I was about to comment on just how fun that is as a stylistic choice.
Yeah.
Um, that because that is how discombobulated he is. He thinks he's talking. It's great. I love it.
Yep. Ham looked up at Sazed, helpless. Hurry, Lord Hammond, Sazed said. We can have the soldiers carry the wounded. We will make our way to keep hasting. Perhaps we can find sanctuary there. Or perhaps the Kolos will be distracted enough to let us slip out of the city. Sazed here is taking control. Ham doesn't take control. He's never wanted to in the past. He's here to ask Breeze, and Breeze is not functional.
Mm-hmm.
There's a soldier there who could probably take command, but nope, it's Sazed.
Yeah, exactly. Like although Ham is still asking Breeze what we're supposed to do, because I guess that's what you're going to do when you find another leader around you. But you can see Sazed just steps into it, and that's so he should. So he should.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Distracted, Breeze mumbled. Distracted by the killing of other people, you mean? Well, it is somewhat comforting to know that we're all cowards. Now, if I could only lie here for a little longer, I might be able to fall asleep and forget all of this.
Okay, he's alive. Thank goodness. They're all alive. They're distracted by Vin. Get Vin some more metals, boys.
Yeah.
She needs fuel. She's going to be running low. Oh my gosh, are we going to get a Vin POV soon? We need one.
Yeah. Edge of my seat chapter.
And now we can't read next. We can't read? We can't read going forward.
Nope. The rest of the chapters are all going to be blind blinds.
But you'll be blind with me this time. Haha.
Yes. But this
How
was
was
a...
Yeah.
It was very entertaining for me to listen to your reactions.
Yeah, what was it? Yeah, it must be weird knowing what's coming and then
knowing what happened to clubs.
Was difficult.
It was difficult, and knowing you were about to go through that was very sad.
Mm-hmm. But I like I said, I think going through it with someone is actually so much better than when you're reading it alone. I feel like it's when the I don't know, the catharsis of reading it with someone else just makes it less traumatic.
Good, I'm glad.
Right, amazing chapter. I think it was a happy accident. I'm very happy about it. So I hope you're not as mad as with me as initially.
I'm not mad. I wasn't
He
I
was
wasn't
so
initially
mad.
mad.
So, like, I think you guys don't understand. I had to calm him down.
She's lying.
Yes, I know.
I was excited for it, actually.
Well, let's not do that again. No, I think it would be cool if we did that sometime or some other book. I don't know. It would be very cool, but we're not doing that with the rest of the book. We're on even ignorance going forward. So.
We could do Eye of the World. You know it. I don't.
Oh yeah.
I could blind my way through it with you. One
great.
day.
Yeah.
Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week. Subscribe to That Darn Kitty if you get a chance, because she's got a great channel. Join the Discord if you want. I post memes in there.
Good times. Leave a like.
If you like. Okay, thanks, bye.
Bye.